Another massive FBI scandal revealed to us, made transparent by the director of the FBI, Kash Patel. You can see the article here. Biden FBI spied on 8 Republican senators as part of Arctic frost investigation. The Grassley oversight reveals. An explosive FBI document obtained by Senate Judiciary Committee Chairman Chuck Grassley, a Republican from Iowa, reveals the FBI targeted 8 Republican senators' personal cell phones for tolling data as part of its Arctic frost investigation. One Republican member of the House of Representatives was also impacted. The Arctic frost investigation formed the basis of Jack Smith's elector case against President Donald Trump. So yes, there you have it. Another liberal scandal revealed to the public, made transparent today to us. Once again, suspicions from Republicans and conservatives over the last 4 or 5 years confirmed by the FBI. You want to talk about threats to democracy? Here's one right here, being made public for all of us to read about now. They spied on anybody who was affiliated with President Donald Trump because they considered Trump the ultimate threat. You can see here in a tweet from the FBI director, Kash Patel himself, transparency is important and accountability is critical. We promised both, and this is what promises kept looks like. The FBI is delivering. As a result of our latest disclosure about the baseless monitoring of members of Congress by the prior leadership team of the FBI, we have already taken the following actions. We terminated employees, we abolished the weaponized CR-15 squad, and we initiated an ongoing investigation with more accountability measures ahead. That was at 6 in the morning earlier this morning. Of course, President Donald Trump took to Truth Social, where he stated, deranged Jack Smith got caught with his hand in the cookie jar. A real sleazebag. I can't even. A real sleazebag. And you can see here, this is an official unclassified document now from the FBI showing that the Biden FBI, and yes, we will be associating Biden's name to this. Some Democrats try to say Biden had no control over the FBI or was not. It stands alone, the FBI. Biden has nothing to do with it. This was the Biden FBI spying on 8 Republican senators during the Arctic frost investigation, using election conspiracy as the reason why, of course. And you can see here, Mike Kelly, Lindsey Graham, Bill Hagerty, Josh Hawley, Dan Sullivan, Tom Tuberville, Ron Johnson, Cynthia Loomis, and Marsha Blackburn. These were the ones named in the details here. It was approved by the FBI, and it was done so September 27th, 2023. And they want to state how President Donald Trump has been using lawfare and weaponizing the justice system against his opponents. Everything that they talk about is basically themselves. It's what you would call a narcissistic projection. Everything they accuse the Republicans of, they're the ones guilty of doing. And this is something that I've noticed about the Liberal Party ever since, actually, President Donald Trump was running for president in his first term. I started to notice all of their sleazy tactics where all it took was for you to just actually pay attention to what they're saying rather than feeling what they're saying. Democrats rely on you listening with your feelings, not with your logic. And the second you go to break down anything they're saying and compare it to their past actions, you realize it's all just baseless accusations to distract and deflect from what they're actually doing. And so the weaponization of the FBI under the Biden administration being revealed on multiple fronts now. We've had Russiagate be exposed to us, as well as now Operation Arctic Frost. Here's Josh Hawley speaking on this, actually, once he learned his name was on that list. He's outraged, and rightfully so. He's one of the 8 Republican senators who were spied on, according to the FBI reports. Take a listen to what he has to say here.
Committee member just stepped out of that hearing. What did you hear from Dan Bongino and the FBI last night on this?
Well, what I know, Bill, is that they targeted the DOJ, the Biden DOJ specifically targeted a group of us. They asked for our call records so they could see who we talked to, who called us. I believe also track our location over a period of days. This is outrageous. I mean, this is really unbelievable. It's blatantly unconstitutional. It's a violation of the First Amendment. It's a violation of the separation of powers. And it also goes to show you the extent to which the Biden administration was so corrupt, using the FBI to target their political enemies. And let's not forget, they didn't just do it to senators. They did it to school board parents who went and spoke up at those school board meetings. They did it to 92 conservative organizations, including Charlie Kirk's Turning Point USA.
Now, the outrage is great. It's what's needed to kickstart all of this. We need investigations, and we certainly need prosecutions. But what's the deal here? Is that actually likely to happen? Because let's be honest with ourselves. Republicans never follow through. These investigations are always meant to stir outrage amongst the Republican voter base, and that they do. I'm sitting here fuming over this right now. But what I'm fuming at even more is the realization that the Republicans very likely will fail at yielding any results from these investigations, just like they've failed in the past with pretty much everything else they've ever done when it comes to obtaining justice on behalf of the American people. This will just be a colossal waste that will cost money. That's my honest to God feelings about this in this moment. Like, why should I have any faith at all in the Republican Party currently, despite them having literally all of the power politically right now? Why should I have any faith at all in their ability to investigate thoroughly enough and then have the intestinal fortitude? Because I truly believe that's what the party lacks even right now. Even under the Trump administration, I truly believe the Republican Party lacks intestinal fortitude to pursue accountability and to pursue consequences for the corrupt actions that they're now proving the Democrats committed during the Biden administration. Why should I have faith in that at all? I've never seen them do that ever. Ever. In my lifetime, I have never seen that happen ever. All I have actually lived through to be able to see is the Democrats playing the game perfectly. During the Biden administration, as angry as I was to see everything happening, oh my God, I respected their strategy so much more. They are ruthless. I admire that. And I wish the party I am politically affiliated with was just as ruthless, just as brutal, just as cunning, just as smart. The Democrats are incredible at this game. I mean, other than the fact that they did come up massively short, to be fair, but I actually credit all of that to God. Truthfully, I really do. If you look back at the last 5 years, and especially the last year, year and a half, that is completely just miraculous that we're in the current situation that we're in, because the Democrats did everything correct, or as close to correct as possible, to shut down conservatives, to shut down the American citizens, and to shut down Trump. By all accounts, it should have succeeded, and it simply didn't, and I consider that a miracle. If the Republicans could play the game even 50% as well as the Democrats, and in the name of true justice, unlike the Democrats who do it corruptly, America would be so much better off. And you know, I'm not the only one who feels this way. This is General Mike Flynn on X today after learning about this Arctic frost scandal. He tweets out, "All of a sudden, the GOP wakes up when they discover they got spied on too. What's new? Nothing. These senators knew the whole time these things were happening and did little to nothing. Spare us your false pain and do something about it, please." You can then see where he actually calls out people, which is even funnier. Chuck Grassley, thanks for never giving up. Pam Bondi, and then he tweets out cricket emojis, which is all we've pretty much heard from Pam Bondi so far. So he is dead on. Everything that I'm feeling, everything General Mike Flynn states on X, others are feeling. I'll show you some comments in a little bit from the Republicans on X. You would think, of course, this is being well received, and in some ways it is, but Republicans have woken up over the past, especially the last 8 months, and they've come to realize the same thing I'm saying right now. There's no justice being pursued here. Not correctly, at least. And we want justice. And we want to see consequences administered for all of these disgusting and vile actions the Democrats have gotten away with for not just the last 4 years even, but the last 8 to 9 years, truthfully. And this illustrates that right here, how it's not happening. Russia collusion hoax, number of arrests, 0. The number of arrests go all the way down on the right side. 0 arrests for the January 6th committees. 0 arrests for the Mar-a-Lago raid. 0 arrests for the Biden auto pen. 0 arrests regarding the 2020 election, which, to be fair, that one would be tough to prove. That's the stolen election conspiracy. 0 arrests regarding the Epstein files. 0 arrests for all of the COVID mishandling and mismanagement. Much of it deliberate, and we can prove that. A lot of that, at least, I feel like we can prove when it comes to Fauci, who was pardoned, of course, but still. 0 arrests regarding Benghazi. That happened years ago. Years ago. 0 arrests regarding the Doge findings, the absolute corrupt, disgusting, possibly money laundering, overspending, funding, all of that. That's all been terrible. No arrests, and 0 arrests involving the Ukraine impeachment hoax. And it could keep going on too. I mean, what we've even learned this year, because yes, the FBI is more transparent, but where's the accountability? Where's the follow through? I even have tweeted this out where I stated the transparency that Kash Patel is talking about has been nice. To some degree, it's been nice. But when you really think about it, transparency without accountability following it is actually more infuriating. I'd almost rather not know about some of this stuff, knowing that there will be no consequences handed out for any of it. That burns inside of me and makes me much more angrier than if I would have just actually not known about it, just to be honest with you. And that's a sad state to be in as a conservative. And here's part of the problem right here as well. CNN already running cover for this story. Well, what he did wasn't that bad. What Jack did wasn't that bad. He was investigating something real here and he needed to do what he needed to do. They're already covering for it. And when you have this happening on our mainstream media with 80 IQ liberals watching it, drooling, then they go online and they literally type down what these guys say. It wasn't that bad. They needed to do what they needed to do. Your guy Trump is so corrupt anyway. He needs to be investigated. Of course they need to tap his phones. Of course they're going to tap all of the people's phones around him. And some of you MAGA conservatives are so extreme. We're terrified of you. And you deserve to have your phones tapped. That's what will happen because of this. CNN will play into that narrative. The Republican investigations into this matter will turn up nilch, having wasted millions of dollars in the process and resulting in no consequences. Here's CNN covering for it.
I wonder what you make of this. I mean, was it an overreach on Jack Smith's part?
Well, not only wasn't it an overreach, it's not even news. Jack Smith cites these conversations in his report. So this is not like he was trying to keep this a secret. And remember what Jack Smith was investigating. He was investigating Donald Trump's attempts to overturn the election through the use of fake electors in Congress. He was lobbying members of Congress to do just that. That was evidence in the case. So it is, of course, appropriate for him to investigate the time and nature, or at least the time and the duration of calls with members of Congress. It's a complete non-story, except that Jack Smith was doing his job.
I just wonder also, why use the term spying when there was no spying that occurred? I mean, this was done by a grand jury, essentially subpoena. They did it years after the fact of these calls. It wasn't done in real time at all. So, I mean, maybe you could argue it's for political purposes if you think that the entire January 6th investigation was political, but it certainly doesn't seem to have been spying.
And so there you have it. CNN, well, Jack Smith was just doing his job. And, this is what happens when you're aligned with Trump, who's super corrupt. That's the narrative already. And there's nothing we can do about it. CNN will continue to perpetuate these narratives and Republicans will do absolutely nothing about it. But I do like at least this. Josh Hawley reminding everyone that, the citizens were affected by this too. It's not just 8 U.S. Republican senators.
What were they looking for?
Good question. I mean, who knows? This was done years after the fact, by the way. This was back in 2023 when they go and start this fishing expedition. I tell you what it looks like to me, Bill. It looks like targeting political enemies. You talk about an enemies list. I mean, this would make Richard Nixon blush. I mean, this is unbelievable what Joe Biden did. He targeted the former president of the United States, Donald Trump, when he was a private citizen. He targeted 8 Republican senators. He targeted almost 100 conservative organizations. He targeted parents who go to meetings. He targeted anybody who was in Washington, D.C. on January 6th exercising their First Amendment rights. I mean, I could just go on and on. He targeted pro-lifers who peacefully protested outside abortion clinics. This was the most out-of-control administration, the most corrupt administration when it comes to abuse of the Constitution in our history. And Bill, we've got to have an investigation that turns over the facts of everybody who was involved in this, who signed off on this stuff, who knew about it. We need to know.
He's 100% correct there. And, with all of these citizens who are being targeted, that's why justice is so important. And with these Democrats continuing with these reckless, corrupt, ridiculous behaviors, they face no consequences for it. And therefore, there's nothing to deter them from doing it again. Right now, they're in the weakest state they've ever been in, at least in my lifetime. They have almost no power. Their party approval rating is in the toilet, and even their own voters are embarrassed to be associated with them, all the while Trump deports out what was supposed to be their future voters. So this is the time to strike. This is the time to pursue justice, to hand out consequences, and to make sure that there are proper deterrents in place to prevent future disgusting, vile Democrat actions like this from happening. Unfortunately, Republican confidence in that actually happening is what I would estimate to be at an all-time low, just by gauging the amount of comments that I've seen on X over this news being announced. Take a look at some of the comments, for instance, under this post. Step 1, feign outrage. Step 2, send a strongly worded letter or maybe have a hearing. Step 3, do nothing. You can see this post right here. I wake up. You are not listening to us. Democrats do something blatantly illegal. GOP politicians are outraged. Then nothing happens. Repeat cycle. Until all these bad actors are doing serious prison time, just another day in D.C. I'm sorry, but I'm a bit fed up with all of the outrage if you're not going to do anything about. Harumph, harumph, harumph. I think the real question is, what are you going to do about it from up there in the back of the bleachers? Don't talk about it. Do something about it. Put someone in jail or just piss off. Stop it, drama queen. For some reason, this causes outrage, yet 12 years ago, we were all shown proof that we are being spied on by the government by Snowden. I have zero empathy for government shills being spied on while we are all having the same done to us daily for a decade plus. Even more comments right here. Send them a strongly worded letter. You can see that's a theme here, and I love that. I'll join right in making fun of these weak, spineless Republicans and their lack of results. And this is essentially all they do, is send a strongly worded letter. You can see Gunther Eagleman here. I follow him on X. He said, LOL, you made a funny and then he quotes them, and there needs to be prosecutions with laugh emojis. Yeah, exactly. There will be investigations. You can bet your ass on that. Republicans love their investigations. They love being able to sit down on taxpayer dollars, blow through millions of them on these investigations, throw all the Democrats who are guilty of this in front of a mic, grill them for hours, and then yield no results, no prosecutions, no punishments, nothing after that. It all goes dark. It all goes quiet. On to the next outrageous event.